To create reaction videos like Jacksepticeye for free using CapCut, you first need some way to record your face. You can use a camera like that one right there, or you can use your phone. You also need some way to record a screen to react to. Now, the easiest thing would be to use another phone if you're using one phone to record your face. So you can watch what you're reacting to and you just screen record, for example, TikTok on your phone. To do that on an iPhone, you swipe down from the top right, revealing this window, and then you should have an icon like this on your screen. If you don't, go into settings and you can add it, and you just tap it, then it will give you a 3, 2, 1 countdown and start recording your screen. Then you just open up TikTok and it'll record all of that. Then you save the TikTok video or whatever you screen recorded that you're reacting to and copy it to your computer, and then later we'll sync up the camera with the screen recording. You can do exactly the same thing with an Android phone with its built-in screen recorder. If you want to record your screen on a computer, whether it's Windows, Linux, or Macintosh, you can use a free software called OBS. Once you've downloaded the software, it looks like this. Now, it's not intuitive software, but it's very powerful. You can use it to record your face and the screen at the same time, so you have like minimal editing, but I prefer to record my face with my camera and my screen with other software, and then bring it into CapCut, sync it up, and edit it later. So let me just give you the very basic settings for a screen recording, not a live stream, just a screen recording in OBS. When you open it up, it's going to look just like this. The first thing you want to do is jump over to Controls and click on Settings. Jump over to Output, and you're going to skip streaming because we're not doing that right now, but if you want to get into it, you can learn how, and OBS is a great way to do it. But for recording, we're going to browse to where we want the file to go once we finished recording it. And I'm going to put it here in this Reaction Videos folder and click Open. Bam, that's where it's going to go. And for recording quality, just leave this default high quality. These other options create much bigger files. For the recording format, it may default to MPEG-4, and you might think that MPEG-4 is the way to go. But the issue is with an MPEG-4 video, if OBS crashes, and it sometimes does, you lose everything. So imagine recording for 2 hours and then running out of space or something, and OBS crashes, and then you can't get it back. But if you record it as an MKV file, you'll be able to recover what you recorded before the crash. So it's worth doing that. But you have to take one other step. If you don't take this additional step, you're going to be hosed. So make sure you do what I make sure you pay attention. For video encoder, you want to make sure hardware is selected so it encodes faster. Audio encoder AAC, and you can ignore the rest. Next, we're going to go to audio. You want to keep it at 48K stereo. And these global audio devices tell OBS where to get the audio from. You can get it from your computer or from mics or other devices. In our case, the only thing we're going to record is the audio from whatever we're watching on the screen. That would be the desktop audio. So you're going to just leave it as default and leave the rest of these disabled. When you're done making those changes, you jump over to video. And here we're going to choose our resolution. Now, this should ideally be the size of your monitor. If you have an HD monitor, it's going to be 1920 by 1080. If you have a 4K monitor, it's going to be 3040 by 2160. I've got a monitor that's wider than 4K, but if I used that resolution, it would create this long, skinny file, which I don't want to use for this example. So I'll show you what you have to do to compensate for that in a second in this video. And for the frame rate, you can choose any of these frame rates. 60 would probably look the best. And if you're going to record gameplay or something like that with OBS, you probably do want to use 60. But 30 frames a second will be great for recording something like a TikTok video, for a reaction video, and it's also going to take up less space than a 60. For our purposes, you don't need to worry about any of the other settings in the Settings tab. You'll click Apply and then click OK. Next, we need to choose the source. Where is the video and audio going to come from? We go under Sources right here. We click on this plus sign. We have a ton of options, but you only need to worry about one thing. On a Mac, you're going to select Mac OS Screen Capture, which is going to get you both audio and video. And on a Windows machine, it'll be a similar selection. And we can name it if we want to. In our case, we're just going to leave it as Mac OS Screen Capture and not going to mess with anything else. I'm going to click OK, and it's going to pop up this screen right here for the properties. And we have 3 possible methods. We're just going to use display. It's going to capture whatever's on our screen. We have the ability to choose the display. I've got my Mac screen over there for my laptop, or my main screen right here, my Dell, and I'm just going to use that monitor. And I do want to show the cursor so you can see what I'm doing on the screen. And I also don't want to see OBS. Right now, I'm I'm filming OBS, which is recording OBS. We got this little infinity effect, but I want to hide OBS from the recording because I don't want to record that. And now I can see what's on the screen behind it. I'm going to click OK. You might notice that, oh, what's all this space over here? And why am I seeing the notes and not the whole screen? It's because, remember, my monitor is a little bit wider than 4K. So I just need to adjust this footage in the background so it fits on the screen. What I want to see fits. I'm going to slide this over here and just bump it up like that. Right here looks pretty great. And now we're ready to record ourselves reacting. We have our camera set up. We're going to use OBS to record our screen or our phone. And we just hit start recording right here. And I'm going to hide this screen and just show my TikTok screen right here. And we're going to start watching these videos and make a Jacksepticeye style reaction video. We'll just make one that's a few seconds long, but I'm going to record for a minute until, I get something that's interesting enough to use, and then we'll edit it in CapCut. Now, I would make Jacksepticeye style reaction videos, except he's better looking. He's got those beautiful, piercing blue eyes, that Irish accent, which I'm going to try to imitate, but I'm hopefully not going to offend him or anyone that's in Ireland. And he also has like these, this long, beautiful hair, but I'm just gonna hide the fact that I don't. And let's jump here and do this. Now, you don't necessarily need an open, but Jack sometimes does an open, so let's do a Jacksepticeye style open. I haven't recorded a reaction video in quite some time, and the caffeine I had today has already worn out, so I'm kind of tired, but what better way to make me have energy and give you energy than to make you laugh? Let's look at some of these TikToks that I haven't watched yet and see if any can make me laugh. Dude, that accent is terrible. I'm so sorry, Jack, but I'm gonna keep trying to do it just because, why not? Here we go.
When my son was teething, he used to like to take the big fat rubber end of my vibrating toothbrush and put it in his mouth on. Okay. And he'd just kind of sit there like, oh yeah, that feels good.
You can't put that on YouTube. This is terrible, but Dude, new respect for reaction channels. I spent an hour last night trying to laugh, looking at TikToks, and I love TikTok, but like almost nothing made me laugh, so I'm gonna try again for a few minutes. So here we go. Maybe I just didn't have enough caffeine. It was too late at night. I don't know. Let's go. Let's do this thing. That's kind of funny. I think it was probably real. Round 3. Nothing was funny again. Just total fail the whole thing. I think you figured it out. Instead of like trying to laugh at this stupid stuff, I'm just going to force myself to laugh. Fake laugh at every joke, no matter what. Here we go. And on that note, yeah. Okay, that was a bit harder than I thought. But ultimately, we've got 15 minutes of me watching TikToks and the screen recording. Both of those, me on camera and the screen recording, is for you to download, link in the description below. Our first step to edit this, a reaction video in the style of Jacksepticeye, kind of, is you import the footage. We go to import, and we choose reaction and reaction, and we hit import. That's it. And we just need to bring these to the timeline so we can have maybe the reaction video on the bottom and me on top. Doesn't really matter what we're doing. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the track magnet off because with it on, it just creates issues for what we're doing here. So I'm going to turn the track magnet off by clicking here or typing the letter P. And I'm going to right click on both of these and choose sync video and audio so they are synced exactly. Right now, they're not exactly the same duration because I started them not exactly the same time. But when I hit Shift Z, you can see that, okay, I must have started the screen recording a little sooner. So we've got my intro right here to the reaction video, and then we've got me reacting. So let's first just trim it up here by selecting both of them and hitting the keystroke Q. So it deletes everything to the left of that. Now I'm going to slide it all over. And before we trim this up, we're going to adjust the mask so we can see me and what I'm reacting to. So let's go ahead and move me over here. I'm looking to the right, so you want to make sure that what I'm reacting to is over here, so it looks like I'm looking at it. So about there's probably going to be okay. And so I can see what's underneath it. I'm just going to type the letter V. That's going to make this track invisible until I turn it back on. We can also hit the eyeball right here, but it's easier to type the letter V. Bam, that's invisible. We can see this. And let's go ahead and position this in the middle and find a nice clear image to look at for this little masking tutorial portion here. And with this highlighted, I click on Video, Mask, and I don't want to see all this other stuff for our purposes. We just want to see this part. So to see it, we choose a mask that's going to let us create a rectangle. And luckily they've got one called Rectangle. I click on that and I want to center it approximately here. And I just drag the top up so I get about what I want there. And you can trim it how you like. You can make it square. You can make it whatever you want. And I'll drag it in like that. And you can see I've got a little bit of the black showing through here. So I'm going to just drag this to the right a tiny bit until it's more centered. And then just bring the sides in a little more and bam, that looks pretty good. Now you might try to just move it over like this to put it where it goes like that. That's not going to work because you're just moving the mask. So I'll undo that. What I want to do is click on Video Basic, and now I can move this whole thing. So to move the whole thing, I'll put it over here. I'm going to leave a little bit of black on the side right there. And I'm going to scale this up a little bit so there's maybe nothing on the top and bottom. Drag it there. So there's a little bit of black here. And then we want to see me, and I want to be positioned correctly here. So I'm going to highlight it, type the letter V, but now we can see that I'm blocking part of this TikTok, and we don't want to be blocking it. I could just move me over, but then I'm way off the screen. So what should we do? We should just add a mask to me. A mask just lets you choose which portion of a video clip you want to use. So we're going to click on Mask again and choose a rectangle again. We want to see everything top to bottom. And I want to make sure that I am in the middle of this section over here. So I'm going to make sure the mask is centered on me, and then I'll adjust the mask to fit. So let's go like this, drag this over like that a bit. And I want to close this black gap right here just a tiny bit. So I'm going to click on Video Basic and just drag this over here a little bit so that this line and this line are pretty even. And just so it kind of looks even more consistent, maybe let's put a little black space over there. How would we do that? We would just go back to Mask and drag this guy over even more. And you just kind of play with it till you get the look you want. And something like that might work. So you just go back and forth between the mask and the position until you get something like I want here, which I want all these lines to be about the same, all those black lines. That looks pretty good, right? So now we have this in sync and we can see the clips over there. And this white line thing's annoying and it kind of throws me off. So you just click anywhere else in the timeline to make this white box go away. So click anywhere else and then we can see that, okay, this looks pretty good. That's our base. Now we could just export it like this, but there's so much more we can do to make this much more watchable. Now remember, for this one, I'm faking it and I just want to show the funnier clips where I'm reacting to it. Hopefully you guys are better reacting. Obviously, this isn't probably going to be what I'm going to take my channel to, but this is how you do it. The next step is to choose the funny parts where I'm actually reacting. And you can tell where I'm reacting because you can see the waveforms peaking here where I'm actually saying something or laughing. So let's go ahead and do the very beginning. Round 3. Okay, so already you see I'm waiting. So we want to just trim that up and make it, a little bit tighter there. For these reaction videos, it needs to be really tight, meaning you don't want to have any pauses or breaths or waiting for stuff to happen. You want to just get right into it immediately. So I can see this waveform where I can see right where I clicked, and then I started speaking. So I'm going to highlight both of those, type the letter Q, and then slide them over. We have the track magnet off, so we're going to be manually sliding things over so everything stays in sync. And we'll just watch this. Round 3. Nothing was funny again. Just total fail the whole thing. Okay, and then I'm done with my intro. No matter what, here we go. So I said, here we go. And at this point, we're just going to add an edit here because here we go. I can see that nothing's happening. I look at the waveform, see nothing's happening. So you don't have to always watch every single frame. You can just look at the waveforms and go, oh, this is where something's happening. And let's scroll along. Okay, the first thing I did was look at these girls, try not to laugh challenge, and they start singing here. So right here when she starts to sing is probably where I want to start this. So I'm gonna type the letter Q and then slide everything over again. And here we go. Look at the cat sing. It's none of them, watch this, none of them can sing. Watch. Okay, and I said none of them can sing, so that's the thing. You know, this TikTok goes on a lot longer, but we just want to use the funnier parts. So watch this. It says none of them can sing. So we're just going to add an edit right here and then jump to where the other girl is starting to sing right before it so we can like not waste any time. And then we see this girl starting to try to sing there. Maybe we'll get the other girl pointing. So right there where this girl starts to point, we're going to add the edit there. How do I add an edit? Letter Q on Mac or PC, doesn't matter, and just slide everything over. And then ding, ding, ding. And oh, that's so good. Oh, dang. Oh, wow. That is the best. Oh, okay. Oh, good. Oh, dang. Oh, wow. So wow's how I'm going to end that one. And then you want to get onto the next thing. So we're just going to add it here. I'm just going to do a couple of these, then we'll get into the other things to make this more watchable. We then want to find the next piece of video we want to keep. So we're just going to drag the playhead until there's something we like. We can look at my waveforms to see where I laughed. This could be something here, and nothing happening there. This one I think is good. I can see that I don't want that. I want that one where she's going to do something funny. So I'm just going to go to the first frame of that. I'm going to use my keyboard to move one frame at a time till I get exactly on that frame and type what letter? The letter Q to get rid of all of that stuff. Slide all of this over. And then we're going to go to my reaction and see where that ends and add another edit there. Okay, and I was doing some other silly things there, which you'll see in the final thing. So I'm just going to end it like right there and add an edit with Command B. And then we just keep going through all of this and deleting all the boring stuff and keeping the fun stuff where there's good reactions. You don't want to make it really, really tight. When you're done trimming it up, it'll look something like this. In my case, we went down from 15 minutes to about 2 minutes, and we can tighten it up a little bit more as we go, but there's a lot we can do to make it better. And if you've taken my course, Edit with Trev and Master CapCut, you would already know the things you can do to make this better. In my course, I teach you to edit with CapCut in like 2 days, plus I teach you the 10 steps you need to take with every video so that you get more views and more subscribers every time you post. Like I promise, if you do these 10 steps, you will get more views and subscribers than you're getting right now. And if you make every video just a tiny bit better, you're going to grow and you're going to be shocked at the results. And if you don't get those results, you just tell me you don't like it. I'll give you a full refund. So check out my course, Edit with Trev and Master CapCut. Link to the description below or up there somewhere as well. Now, let's make this more fun. First, we don't want to keep me and the TikTok thing on all together. Sometimes you want maybe just me and sometimes maybe just the TikTok. So for this first part, it's just the intro. So I want just me. So I'm going to click on this guy, which is the TikTok track. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. How do I zoom in? Remember, it's Command key on the Mac or Control key on the PC, and then you zoom with your scroll wheel right there. So I'm just going to hold down the Command key on my Mac, and I'm going to zoom in over here so I can see exactly what's going on. I don't want that, so I'm just going to click on this guy, which is the track with the TikTok on it, and I'm going to hit delete, and then I'm going to click on me, and oh no, I'm not filling the frame anymore. So I'm going to go over to Video, Basic, and just undo all the stuff I did for position and scale by hitting this reset button here. And that's close, but oh no, I'm still cut out. What happened? Well, I've still got a mask on. To get rid of the mask, you simply go to Video, Mask, and you click on None, because right now this is highlighted, a rectangle. I want none, so I'm going to click on that. Bam. Now we see just me. So I've got me talking for 13 seconds, which is just a really long time to be talking with nothing happening. So I should make something else happen. So maybe one of the first things we can do is have it come in an interesting way. So to do that, I click on Animation, and I want to have me come in interestingly, just flash in, slam in something I can use. And let's see which one we want to use. How about Jelly? Round 3. So we have it coming in fun, but then we want to change it up a little more. How about right here where I say, just total fail the whole thing? I said total fail the whole thing. So maybe for that section, I want to change this up, make it more interesting. So I'm going to just cut that part out to separate it so I can apply an effect to just that. I'll hit Command B at the beginning. Just total fail the whole thing. Bam. And then at the end of that, I'm going to add another edit here. Then I'm going to jump over to Effects and find an effect that'll be kind of funny to make this stand out a little bit. We can click on these body effects right here and type in something like distort and see if they've got anything that's distort. How about this one here? Click and drag it down there. And again, just total fail the whole thing. I think that works. It's easy enough to do much. You just drag it on there, it makes it a little more fun. And we can do that here another time or two in this to make this more interesting. And then we want to go through all of these and decide when we want to maybe punch in on my face or punch in on the TikTok. Punch in means maybe make it zoom in and be obnoxious and fill the whole screen. So let's just scroll over and find a spot where it'd be good to make me full screen. Let's see. And I'm laughing, I'm being silly here. So maybe around here, we'll make me full screen and not see her at all because she's done doing whatever she did. So I'm gonna get rid of her by hitting Command B and deleting that. And now we see just me. And I'm gonna hit Command B right here as well to add a cut here so we don't mess up this one. We just wanted to mess with this guy. Remember how to get me back to kind of normal? You just go to Video, Basic, and hit this Reset button. And then we go over to the mask to get rid of it. And we click on None. And now I am full screen, but I wanna be bigger and more obnoxious full screen. So all we do is jump over to Basic and we just scale me up and make me fill the whole screen. And just something that's just kind of ridiculous for this kind of a video. And it would be something like this. and that's great. It's making it more fun. Sometimes you want to make the TikTok bigger, maybe fill the whole screen. To do that, let's just find a spot where that works. We've got this clown looking dude going on.
Mommy, put this stuff down and then you throw this.
So maybe there when the lady's screaming, we make this guy she's screaming about bigger to fill the whole screen. So starting with the scream, we can see it because it's all really loud here in the waveforms. I'm just going to add an edit here, Command B or Control B on a PC, add another edit here, Command B, and let's just make that really, really big. So I'm going to drag it to the middle. I'm going to scale it way up, and then it would look like that. And let's see how that works.
You throw this.
Bam. So you could just do that all over the place. You can also add distortion to something like that. We could, even that same effect would probably work here too. Watch this.
You throw this.
I mean, that's pretty obnoxious, so I probably wouldn't use that. But you can play with these effects and make it fun. It depends on your audience. If you have a younger audience, you can add more stuff more often so it's more engaging. For an older audience, you would speak more slowly than I speak. Sorry, again. And you would also have a slower pace. Now, sometimes you'll forget to pause whatever you're watching, so the other thing will be playing and it'll be distracting, and you don't want your audience to be watching the next clip that you're not reacting to. So you might need to create a freeze frame. So in this case right here,
Bon appetit.
she says bon appetit.
Avocado.
And I'm reacting still to her bon appetit, but we got avocado chick here. So what do? We go back to that last frame of her reacting like this. I'm just using the left arrow to get back, finding that last frame right there. And I'm going to make sure this clip is highlighted. And I'm going to make a freeze frame of this. To do that, I simply click on this freeze frame icon here, and it freezed it, and it moved this other stuff on a different track. So I'm just going to click on that extra junk and delete it. And this is just a freeze frame of that. So I'm reacting to her. So I'm just going to click and drag that over. And now we have
Bon appetit.
And then I'm reacting, looking at her, and then I'll say something. I'm not the one that did that. Okay, so, and in this case, I don't want to say I'm not the one that did that. You got to get right to the next thing. So I'm just reacting kind of obnoxiously. And then before my eyes shift, I'm going to delete this by highlighting both. Command B, delete both. Now, because we don't have the track magnet on, this bottom track isn't sliding over, and all these guys aren't sliding over either. So we still don't want the track magnet on because watch what happens if I do that. It moved everything out of sync. That's why I have the track magnet off most of the time. It's not a big deal. This is what I did in Hollywood always, and this is what I do when I'm using CapCut most of the time when I don't have that on. Obviously, we could just highlight all these clips and move them over like this because they're all visible in the timeline. If they're not all visible in the timeline, and if they're just a whole bunch down there, if it looks like this, like I can't highlight them. I mean, you could hit Shift Z and then highlight them. But what I do all the time is this. If everything is not visible, I will choose the right bracket. And you could choose it from here, which I never do. It's called Select Right Word. It's this right bracket right here. So we're never going to use this. This is slow. That's what slow people with tiny channels do. Us with our big or soon-to-be humongous channels, we're going to use the keystrokes. And the keystroke is right bracket. Watch what it does. Turns that into a double arrow. And now I can click in everything to the right of this arrow. I can just click and drag back here. And notice that it snaps into place. And it is snapping into place because I have snapping on, which is this guy, like finger snapping, bam. So things are snapping into place to keep it nice and easy and smooth and no little empty spaces in between things. Another thing you can do to emphasize what's happening on the TikTok side, the thing that you're reacting to, is move this into the middle and then fill up the background with something besides me. And the way you would do that is find where you want to do that.
Oh!
And this is where they start to scream. So maybe right here we want to make that kind of full screen. So I'm just going to cut it here. And then cut it here because it's going to be done after that. And I'm going to just move this guy to the middle by dragging him over like that. And he's pretty well centered, but I don't want me there. So what I'm going to do is duplicate this guy. And to duplicate it, what I always do, this works exactly the same in Adobe Premiere. I hold down the Option key on my Mac or the Alt key on my PC, and I click and I drag it up, and bam, now there's two layers. Now you can't tell there's two layers because there's one on top of another. But I want to make this bottom layer big to fill up all this empty space and cover me. So I'm just going to scale up the bottom one by clicking on Scale and dragging it like that, and then move it over so it fills the whole screen. It would look like this, which is fine, except the background's still a little bit distracting. So one thing we can do is just blur this. So to blur it, we just jump over here into Effects. We'll go to Video Effects, we'll type Blur, and that will give us all of these options. You can use any of these blurs. We'll just take this one down here, and that would look like this.
Oh!
Now, the one thing about the basic blur is it doesn't have any options to modify it, but there is one called Lens Blur, which is a pro feature, which gives you a few more options. So we can like take the filter down, which changes the colors, and we can take the blur down so it's not as much. So either one of those will work totally fine. The next thing we do to plus this up is add transitions. So I'm talking, and then we get right into it. So I'm just going to highlight both of these, right click and choose Create Compound Clip. And now I can add a transition between this and this to make it more interesting. To do that, all you do is jump over to transitions and you choose one. You can use like anything, literally. Click OK, and here we go. That's fine, that's kind of boring. Let's do something that's more interesting. How about film erase? That's kind of cool. Let's use this one. Go. Yeah, that's kind of great. So you can do that wherever you want here. And the reason I made a compound clip is because I have one clip on this side on the left. And if I had two clips on this side, it would only transition one of those. So I'm going to do that for you. I'm going to undo the compound clip. The transition will stay on that bottom one, but watch this. It's not quite right. Here we go. I mean, it went so fast that it kind of worked, but look at this. I'm still transitioning, that isn't. So we want to really have a compound clip there so it does everything correctly and it looks professional. The final thing we're going to cover today in terms of what to do to plus this up is maybe we can add some sound effects to make it more fun. Now right here we got some like glitchy TV thing going on. So we can jump under Audio and click on Sound Effects and just type glitch and find a glitch sound effect. Let's see this one. Yeah, that kind of works. So crackling, we just drag it down there and I'm zooming in with the scroll wheel and the Command or the Control key on the PC. And notice this glitch actually happened to be exactly the right duration. This looks like it might be a little bit loud, so I'm going to make sure it's highlighted in the timeline and just drag the volume down a bit and just test it. Here we go. Yeah, that's kind of perfect. So I want you to go through and trim your video up completely, push in on yourself, push in on the TikTok, add some sound effects, transitions, and effects, and eventually you'll end up with something like this. Nothing was funny again. Just total fail the whole thing. I think you figured it out. Instead of like trying to laugh at this stupid stuff, I'm just going to fake laugh at every joke, no matter what. Look at the cat sing. It's none of them, watch this, none of them can sing. Oh, that's so good. Oh, dang. Oh, wow.
Excuse me.
She burped. You should also just pose for your thumbnail.
Flakes in it.
Mommy,
Put
this
this
is
stuff
not
down and then
hard.
you throw this.
That poor guy. This is gonna be good. She's gonna fall. You know she's gonna fall.
Bon appetit.
I'm guessing that's
Powder. I'm allergic to chocolate.
it's gotta be a donut. Right? right? You pick up a brick if somebody can. Then they're not going to splash you. They're going to stop. There we go. There's my accent. I got it back.
Oh.
And on that note, yeah. One thing that can really level up your videos is to edit to the beat. And CapCut makes it super easy. And I teach you how to do it in this video right here. Go watch it now.